the end of the day, I don't think they'll go there. I don't think they can. They're in a box. They are in a box where they've got to choose between a mentally incompetent president and a DEI vice president, and they know that they're going to be facing a problem either way.
Now, I know that you are wont to read a loser when a loser says a thing, so I'm just going to let you comment on what you think about those words.
Again, you know what? I want people to listen to them. If you just listen to what they say, it will tell you everything that you need to know. Number one, you can obviously see that he's ignorant as all get out. And number two, you can see that he wishes he had half the competency of Vice President Kamala Harris. Don't talk to me about what a DEI hire looks like, because we know that you have never, ever engaged in diversity, equity, or inclusion when it came to your office. So we know that you don't know anything about hiring diversity. But let me tell you one of the real facts about diversity in this country. We're missing out on trillions of dollars in GDP, and they can go and check the receipts if they want to, because we have the rogue governors coming out of the state of Texas that are anti-DEI. We've got the rogue governor in Florida and so forth. And so what they need to do is get over their incompetence and just try to get on our level and decide that they're going to compete and start to come up with actual policies instead of going after people because of how they look or how they were born. Instead, they need to focus on taking care of the American people, which means that you're going to take care of people other than just white folk. It means that you take care of brown, Hispanic, Asian, and everyone.
We can always count on this particular freshman to keep it real and tell it like it is.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the usual suspects who are sticking by the sinking ship of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, okay? Because let's not get it twisted. Democrats are talking about Kamala Harris replacing Joe Biden. However, Kamala is a sinking ship as well. She's just sinking a little bit slower than Joe Biden. The only reason she's sinking a little bit slower than Joe Biden is because she's not really in the spotlight, okay? But if they were to put Kamala Harris in the spotlight, then we know that she would implode just like the Biden campaign, okay? Because she has the same problem that Joe Biden has, is that when you listen to Joe Biden talk, clearly you can recognize that, hey, the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top floor. And I think the same thing is true for Kamala Harris as well, too, okay? Except Kamala Harris, she doesn't sound old and senile like Joe Biden. She just sounds high, right? She sounds like she hit a gravity bomb before doing a speech.
Remember Venn diagrams, those three circles, right? And then let's just see where they overlap.
Okay, I'm just saying, that's what it sounds like to me. So with that being said, again, you have the usual suspects sticking up for Joe Biden, standing behind this ticket, again, partly because Kamala Harris is on the ticket, okay? And that is no other than the Congressional Black Caucus. Even as Democrats in these swing districts that are vulnerable sound the alarm on the possibility that they could get voted out because of Joe Biden being on the ticket, weighing everybody down. And I want to talk about it, but before we get into it, I have to let you guys know, if you like my channel, you want to support my channel, you can check out my new merch. Like, for example, my Make Biology Great Again shirt in the MAGA red. I like it. I think that it's very comfortable. I think it fits me nicely. And you guys should check it out at gforemanbcp.com. You can get 20% off using discount code TEAMBCP. So without further ado, roll the clip.
You see all of those names and faces on your screen. The 4 additions are very significant because remember, this call that House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries convened actually had the top Democrats on the key committees join the call. So you're talking about guys like Jerry Nadler. This is somebody who is the top Democrat on the Judiciary Committee. You're also seeing Adam Smith, the top Democrat on the Armed Services Committee. You're seeing others as well following suit. And we're told, according to our sources, that on the call, those 4 expressed a lot of concern, specifically with Biden being the top of the ticket. They want to see another nominee. Other sources said that there was overwhelming support, for example, for Vice President Kamala Harris to step into that role. With others, should Biden step aside, certainly not all of them calling on him to do so. He did have a large defense, a fierce defense from members of the Congressional Black Caucus that were on the call. We're told Barbara Lee, Maxine Waters, 2 veteran lawmakers from California, they defended Biden on the call, as they have done publicly. We also saw a statement from another member of the Congressional Black Caucus who was not on the call, Frederica Wilson of Florida, but she criticized some of her fellow Democratic colleagues who are taking this moment to call on Biden to step aside, saying, like many others that I've talked to, that every single minute they talk about the need to replace Biden is a minute wasted that they could be talking about Trump.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. More evidence of full-blown panic in the Democrat Party, okay? But again, the bottom line is that there are some people who want to stick with Biden, and there are some people who want to go with Kamala Harris. And because Kamala Harris is a possibility, okay, it is possible that she could take over for Joe Biden if Joe Biden decides to cave to the Democrat pressure, or there's some type of medical emergency that forces Joe Biden out of the race. Then it has to be Kamala stepping up next. So naturally, Kamala is going to get some criticisms. She's going to get some attacks. And the number one criticism against Kamala Harris is that she is a DEI vice president. And the reason why is because Joe Biden told us that he picked her because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. He did not lead with her qualifications, her skill set, or anything that actually really matters in regards to doing a job. No. They lead with identity politics. And when the right rightfully calls out the left for abusing identity politics and leading with that, they want to boohoo, whine, and cry, right? They want to now basically try to make it a slur to call somebody a DEI hire, even though they swap it down diversity, equity, and inclusion is a good thing. Well, if diversity, equity, and inclusion is a good thing, if you actually really believe that, I'm not sure why people like Joy Reid and the ghetto Congresswoman, Jasmine Crotchet, would be so mad and upset with Republicans and other folks telling the truth about Kamala Harris, which you guys, again, claim is such a great thing, okay? Being a DEI hire, right? Being somebody that's a part of diversity, equity, and inclusion. But again, these people being upset tells you everything you need to know about the DEI agenda, which is that it's not based on merit. And a vast majority of these people in these DEI positions do not deserve it, and they didn't earn it, okay? They did not earn it, DEI. So, again, people like Sunny Hostin is going to come out and already start to panic over the attacks that are being levied at Kamala Harris, essentially already declaring that Kamala can't win despite being such a capable black woman, right? She can't overcome the adversity of people calling her a DI hire or racist attacks, right? So again, this is where Sunny's going, okay? Sunny is essentially going to say, because of racism, Kamala already can't win, okay? Because she's a black woman, okay? In a pretty hilarious meltdown, more like a cope over the fact that the Biden administration is sinking, okay? So without further ado, let's get into it.
I didn't say anything in the first segment because I've been so conflicted all morning, as most of you know. I think it would be naive, and I think it would be dishonest for us to say that this president that we are looking at is the same person that we looked at in 2020. I think it would be dishonest for us to look at him and his performance now and his performance across the board, really, not in terms of policy and what he's gotten done, but when he speaks and his appearances, that this is the same man that was Barack Obama's vice president for 8 years. And it would be dishonest for us to look at his record as a senator, which is a darn good record, and say that that is the same man that we are looking at today. And that can—
Wow. Wow. Again, I just find this to be so hilarious to me, how Sunny Hostin finally is seeing reality for what it is, which is that Joe Biden is not cognitively capable of being president of the United States. Okay, this is what she's saying in a very long-winded way, okay, to try to soften the blow, okay, of reality hitting you in the face. It's pretty hilarious.
Concerns me, okay? But what I will say is, they say behind every great man is a great woman.
I'm not sure if that's necessarily true, but in this case, the woman behind Joe Biden is not Kamala Harris, which is what Sunny Hostin is going to say, is actually Jill Biden, okay? And Jill Biden, most certainly in my opinion, is not a great woman. Neither is Kamala Harris, but yeah, I mean, it's Jill Biden. She is actually the woman in charge behind Joe Biden.
Kamala Harris, as Anna said, is prepared. She's ready. She's presidential. She spoke at the Essence Festival this weekend. I think we have a clip. I want to show it very quickly.
You have the former president who is running to become president again, who has openly talked about his admiration of dictators and his intention to be a dictator on day one, who has openly talked about his intention to weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies.
Yeah, which is basically what the Democrats are doing. Again, the projection from Democrats really is astonishing. Okay, if you want to know what they're doing, just pay attention to what they're accusing everybody else of doing. And you know that that's what Democrats are doing, okay? That is the reason why they talk about so-called democracy so much, is because they are anti-democracy, okay? There's anti-democracy built into the Democrat Party in how they choose their candidates. That is what's happening right now. The Democrats are attempting to activate their fail-safe mechanism for democracy, okay? And they're doing it right in front of your face while also telling you at the same time that you need to vote for them to save democracy while they attempt to overthrow democracy within their own party. It's pretty fascinating stuff.
Who has talked about being proud of taking from the women of America a most fundamental right to make decisions about your own body.
Okay? She's presidential. She's ready. She can assume it. So if he cannot complete a 4-year term, we know that we are protected. I will say this. I am uncomfortable with him stepping down because I don't know that this country will vote for a black woman. If this country could not vote for Hillary Clinton, one of the most decorated and successful politicians and people in the world, I don't know that Kamala Harris can beat a convicted felon. One more thing that
Wow. Again, so what she's saying is that, well, I don't want Joe Biden to step down because that means Kamala Harris will be criticized, right? Now, here's the thing, right? Kamala Harris, when she was running in the Democrat primary, her campaign did not get ended before votes were even cast by some white man yelling racist things at Kamala Harris or being racist towards her. No, Kamala's campaign got ended by a so-called woman of color who used Kamala's own record against her in the debate.
Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California.
Yeah, so again, that is part of the reason why Kamala got eliminated in the Democrat primary when she ran back in 2019, okay, 2020. Well, again, it had nothing to do with racism. It had to do with her own record. And that ultimately would be the downfall of Kamala Harris if she was to run against Trump, if she was to be at the top of the ticket, because her record is terrible, okay, as a vice president and as a senator, right? She just has a terrible reputation, a reputation that's down on its knees.
I will say is that Republicans are clearly scared about Kamala Harris. They know that as a senator, she represented 1 in 8 Americans. They know that as Attorney General of California, she ran one of the largest law departments in the country. They know that she was the first African-American woman to be the district attorney of San Francisco. That is a hard thing to do. She's a 3-peat winner. What we do know is, in terms of the Supreme Court, which the media is not talking enough about, the Supreme Court said that Donald Trump, if elected, becomes a king.
You know what's so funny about that? Sunny claims that Republicans are scared of Kamala Harris, which makes no sense because before she said that, she just said that, well, I don't think that Kamala can win because Hillary didn't win. The country's so racist and sexist, I'm not sure that she would be able to survive all the attacks that she would get. So again, if that's the case, if you really believe that, then why would Republicans be afraid of somebody that you say can't win because the country is so racist? Again, it makes no sense. These people really need to listen to themselves talk. But anyways, she's talking about the Supreme Court and how we should be talking about the Supreme Court and not Biden, right? This is what they want. But what she's saying about the Supreme Court is just not true. The Supreme Court did not rule that Trump is a king, okay? That's not what they ruled. You had one liberal deranged Supreme Court justice that decided to basically say that, oh, well, the conservatives just made Trump king and that the president can do whatever they want. But clearly that's not true, because the Supreme Court immunity ruling has not forced the charges against Trump to be dropped, because presumably there will be some things that Trump will be charged for in relation to what happened on January 6th. Okay, so again, what they're saying is just not true, because if it was true, then all of the charges that Trump is currently facing now would just go away. But that's just not the case. Okay, they just have to work out the details on what actions did the president take that were official actions and what actions did he take that weren't official actions. And that's just what it is. But again, these people want to play off of your ignorance. They want to play off your emotions. And that's what all of this really is, okay? It's just emotions and cope, especially from Sunny. She seems like she wants to cry right now. She really does. Like, she is straight up panicking inside at what is happening to the Biden campaign. It's so hilarious.
Give him total immunity. Sotomayor said, orders the Navy SEAL team to assassinate a political rival, immune. Organizes a military dissenting coup to hold on to power, immune. Takes a bribe in exchange for a pardon, immune. She also then went to say, the president is now a king above the law. So guess what, folks? I am uncomfortable with the state of where Joe Biden is, but I am comfortable with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris versus a convicted felon.
So you and I agree on something here.
Again, so always try to rely on Trump derangement when you don't have a way to defend your guy, right? She's basically saying, listen, I can't defend Joe Biden, right? I can say that, well, Kamala's behind him, but at the same time, she can't even say with a straight face that Kamala will win, okay? So she has nothing, okay? So when you have nothing, what you fall back on is Trump derangement, and that's all this really is.
One of the things you just said was that you're uncomfortable, that it's dishonest to say that it's the same man we saw in 2020. I don't think anybody's saying that. Joe Biden isn't saying that. Joe Biden is the first one that says, I'm slower. I don't debate as well as I did. I'm 81 years old now.
It seems worse than that.
Okay, but he's the first one to say he's not the same. Just look at my record of accomplishment.
But he can't litigate the case against Trump the way that we saw the vice president there. Yeah. That is the difference.
She can't either. These people are so delusional, bruh. If you think that Kamala can do better than Biden, you're sadly mistaken. Again, this is nothing but cope.
There's a reason Donald Trump is actually not out there shouting about the debate. He knows that Joe Biden will lose to him. He is afraid of Vice President Harris.
Here's the actual, also real truth. You know, it doesn't matter what we say should be happening. It's going to come down to one or the other.
Okay, all right. I'm not listening to Whoopi and her nonsensical talks, right? I mean, that's one thing I've noticed. I'm like, yo, Whoopi is in the same category with Biden, bro. I don't understand how people don't notice this, okay? But every time I listen to her talk, I'm like, yo, she's right up there with Biden in regards to people that should just go retire, right? Just retire, okay? You don't need to be doing this any longer because you're losing it, okay? Whoopi, you're losing it. So, yeah, with that being said, the meltdowns are hilarious. Sunny Hostin looks like she's about to cry. She's on the verge of tears because she knows, like everybody else knows, that, hey, it's not looking too good for Biden and Kamala can't win. So the only thing you can really do is fall back on Trump derangement. But unfortunately for them, it's just not working, right? It's just not working. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.